by joining forces from now on.
In a few minutes, we'll hear from Barbra Streisand, the legend. But before there was that Barbara, before Broadway and TV, the albums and the movies, there was a young performer still in her teens and early 20s who started out in clubs and cabarets in New York City. Mo Rocca on Becoming Barbara.
Everybody's got to start somewhere. For 19-year-old Barbra Streisand,
ladies and gentlemen,
that somewhere was New York's Bon Soir nightclub.
may I introduce very proudly Miss Barbra Streisand.
The Bon Soir was a typical Greenwich Village nightclub. Small, dark, and you had to walk down a flight of stairs to get in.
Here you were in this exclusive setting that you had to kind of be in the know in order to find your way to.
James Gavin wrote the book about the 1960s cabaret scene in New York City.
Everybody there was joining in a shared experience of discovery.
Oh my goodness, it almost feels experimental.
That was part of the thrill of seeing the likes of Barbra Streisand in one of these clubs, because you knew that you were in on something fabulous that was unfolding before your eyes.
I feel like saying I'll pick up all your checks, but I won't.
These clubs were indeed like little laboratories where some of the most influential figures in American popular culture first found their voices.
Those places were havens for misfits, people who did not fit in anywhere else. Eartha Kitt, Phyllis Diller, Johnny Mathis, Woody Allen. Carol Burnett is another example of somebody who found an adoring audience and then very quickly went on to huge things. But the ultimate example of that kind of performer is Barbra Streisand.
Here was a volcano of talent, beguiling,
Life is just a bowl of cherries.
offbeat,
I'm not going to sing that, so I hope you don't like it too much.
explosive.
It's Technicolor, it's kaleidoscopes, it's the 4th of July, the clarity of the voice, the kind of Borscht Belt comic timing. There's just so much happening in that singing.
Wesley Morris, New York Times critic at large, wrote about the 1962 live album Streisand recorded at the Bon Soir and released only last year.
This sounds like somebody who's been around for years and years.
Can you imagine, because you'd have to, going to those shows in the early 60s?
I think there's something about being in a small space.
See how the leaves go streaming by.
And you are basically watching this one person magnetize a tiny room. So the energy that we're talking about concentrated in that space is wild. And then to just end the show and shoot everybody back out into the world.
Soon it's gonna rain. What are we gonna do?
But for millions of Americans, the first exposure to the full Streisand experience came with her 5 CBS television specials. On these specials, she did things her way.
They're kind of like music videos, right? I mean, they're part concert, they're part video.
I'm wearing second-hand shoes.
In the first special, she traipses through the Bergdorf Goodman department store.
That whole passage in the first special where she's running through Bergdorf's, I mean, that's something Cyndi Lauper would have done, right? Gaga would have done a whole bit in a Bergdorf's, right? Trying on hats, the fur coat bit.
These specials bucked convention.
They got the belt.
And not just because in one of them, Streisand soft shoes with penguins. To be 23 years old and have an hour-long special on network television in those days, and to not have any guests, no one to kind of buffer you. She could have called in, I don't know, Bob Hope or somebody to come in there. Someone she could lean on, but she didn't do that.
No, she didn't. She just knew how powerful she was.
So I say
Stephen Holden is a retired New York Times music and film critic who wrote about Streisand for decades.
There was no one else like her, and there isn't anyone else like her now.
In those early performances, it doesn't seem like she's asking for the audience's approval.
No. She's demanding it.
And any place I hang my hat is home.
The specials were ratings hits.
An Emmy Award is presented to Barbra Streisand.
Her first won 5 Emmys.
I couldn't believe the amount of people that watch you in one given amount of time. Let's say an hour, which was my special. And I figured it out. I'd have to work in the theater in Funny Girl 58 years to reach the same amount of people.
I'd like to swim.
Streisand's stardom was all the more surprising considering when it happened. This first special airs in April 1965. After the Beatles have changed pop culture, she's singing songs primarily in this special from the 20s, 30s, and 40s.
This is an important point. This is an important point. Like, the Beatles are happening, and here is this, you know, one of the most popular acts in America.
I've got the blues.
Is this chick from Brooklyn singing Tin Pan Alley.
Tin Pan Alley songs.
You know, and Great American Songbook tunes.
Sky was blue.
Of course, it was what Streisand was doing with these songs that made them seem brand new.
She is so good at that, taking you on a journey that is obviously emotional and obviously musical.
Cry me a river.
Behold her rendition of Cry Me a River during her Central Park concert TV special.
You nearly drove me out of my head, while you never shed a tear.
In this song, Streisand channels the jilted lover whose ex has come crawling back.
Because we've all been there, right? Like, we've all been, you know, either whether she starts up here and goes down here, or starts down here and goes up. It's the peaks and valleys of the great singers who are able to go up and go down. The EKG of it, it's your spirit responding to somebody else's spirit.
And that's what, in those early days when people were walking to that club, were they like,
Yes, I mean, exactly. Clear. That was the experience of watching her.
The word icon is thrown around these days, but Barbra Streisand is an icon.